team of teachers from one school goes to another school, they flip-flop, and they have some sort of experience that affects each participant's understanding of school cultures of innovation. So we have lots of ideas about what sets this up, and lots of ideas about sort of what structures it as people move through the program. We think that there needs to be a deep reflective element. We think that there needs to be an upfront training element about how to be inside of culture and what culture actually is. But at the end, when it's extraordinary, schools can see innovation in practice in other schools, so that's one benefit of it. Schools help educators, and schools articulate components of culture that create and lead to innovation. Schools gain insight about themselves and each other, and NAIS then has ambassadors for innovation that start populating our schools.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
All right. We'll go over here against the wall. So your time starts now.
So ours is called Daily Scrums, Building a Positive Culture to Innovation. And the idea of it is changing the idea of a meeting to be agile with a purpose. Start and end the day together to build culture and make it very informal, meaningful. It could be a group of 6 that meets every day in this way, and non-threatening. A place that you just bring to the table, sort of an SEL for teachers. You just bring to the table what you want for the day, and then at the end, and maybe that wouldn't happen every day, is a place to be reflective of your experience.
We think that food is really important. But seriously, as a way of authentically bringing people in so that they are coming on a daily basis. Pardon me?
I didn't really
So somebody talk about that.
I think so the idea is that like when you're kind of putting in place like a new culture or like a new process, having a way to just connect on a regular basis with a small group of people that are all charging in different directions, so you can kind of make sure that everyone's connected and you build this kind of shared set of values and ideas. Maybe it's around risk, maybe it's kind of innovation that you can share with others. So it's like what we've seen, and we had the question around other industries, and what we've seen is in tech, this is a really common practice when you have a cross-functional team who all do different things. You kind of bring everyone together, either in the morning or the afternoon or both, and you can kind of make sure that everyone has still the same shared set of ideas around what you're doing.
And ours is really not just informed by tech, although my organization uses the Daily Scrum. We use it in engineering just to hold ourselves accountable and keep up to date with what we're working on. But the team that reports up through me is learning specialists who work with kids who have learning challenges. And when they offer accommodations and modifications, they actually scrum with the teachers in that classroom every day for 5 minutes just to find out what's working and what's not. And then the other piece of it, and I know my alarm went off, came from actually another school where I worked where we had weekly check-ins. And we sat around in a circle, we looked at each other in the face, and we could have a personal check-in or a professional check-in. And what was so really powerful about that is we really knew each other and acknowledged each other and held each other as humans. And so I really like the idea of bringing those two pieces together.
Great. Good job. Everybody here in the middle, in the center, right here.
So we invented the student agency roadmap. So we're kind of like busting out traditional learning environment. Instead of focusing mostly on content, we're identifying the key dispositions that we want our students to walk away with. So humility, self-confidence, tenacity, fearlessness. The idea really is this: it's a goal-setting way of learning, and this is what we're trying to learn, not content. So we match a kid with an advisor. They go in and they have both 24-hour, 48-hour, week-long, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, year-long goals that they're trying to assess, and they get to choose what they want to work on. Do I want to work on being fearless? Do I want to work on self-confidence? And then based on what they decide they want to work on, they then can develop a project or a program that will allow them to kind of get into that. So in terms of what this what this inspires, it's entirely around student choice and passion, develops a huge amount of self-awareness, there's time flexibility in terms of what students are doing when, and it's we call it like a personalized guidance system. So we have self-actualized learners being, graduating. Just add to this? Yeah. All right.
So we felt it was important to have the people who are coming to our workshop sense and feel and taste what it's like to be part of an innovative culture. So we developed the Art of Authentic Innovation as our workshop track. It's a Julia Child approach to inspiring innovative culture. And what we're going to do is create an ingredient list of the attributes of, or the elements of an innovative culture. So we're going to talk about happy kids and community, data analysis, space and time, which is in the wine glass for some reason, ruthless prioritization, talking about being okay to fail, collaboration and instructional strategies. The takeaways, how does it inspire innovation? We were brainstorming, making it accessible, ensuring that they're learning from each other, that they come away with goals that are actionable. We brainstormed the recipes for success for building an innovative environment and creating a support group. Our workshop would be in the form of a summer institute for innovation, and it would be a cohort team-based approach. So there would always be an accountability partner there, and it would be over the summer, but we felt like it could last longer than that, maybe 2 summers.
Go from school to school.
And we could go from school to school regionally and travel if the funding was there. So that was what we came up with.
Go over here.
So one thing that we got today from watching some presentations was the power of intrinsic motivation and how effective it was in producing great things. And so the question that came up in our group was, how do we restore intrinsic motivation in our schools, given that there are a lot of cultural forces that are acting against it, really? So we identified a bunch of solutions to make the kids more intrinsically motivated. Some of those include maybe de-emphasizing grades, having collaborative celebration times, collaboration with teachers, and that was kind of, as we moved out of elementary school into the high school level, stop the forced march of content coverage is one idea, and then also try to end, these are really big goals, try to end the college admissions paranoia that takes a hold of so many of our parents, because that seems to be acting against intrinsic motivation. I think there's a lot of research to suggest that. So then the question is, if we try to do that, we imagine that the market is going to push back. A lot of parents are putting their kids in our schools because they want them to get into Harvard. So how do we address that? We came up with strategies to communicate to parents what the missions of most of our schools are, which are usually bigger than just getting your kid into the college of your choice. And how do we do that? A lot of different ways, but one idea that came up was just by telling really good stories about how much better off your child's going to be 10 years out of high school because you took this approach. That's, I think, the big hope. And then I think, how does this ultimately inspire inspiration? When you free the kids up to operate from a place of joy and discovery, better stuff's going to happen. And that's our we believe that, confident in that. I think that's essentially it.
So our workshop is called Fear Not, Creating a Culture of Experimentation. We tried to figure out a way to encourage more experimentation in schools. We felt that oftentimes the end product is the only thing that's visible, and so there's a lot of emphasis put on that. So we decided we want to celebrate and make more visible the steps of an innovative learning process in order to encourage experimentation and encourage community value for new ways of doing things. We talked about sort of a 4-step way of doing this. The first part was educating our students and our parents and our faculty about the importance of experimentation. It could be bringing in people who are out of school now, who are coming back, kind of like the Lumosity people did today, talking about that importance and sort of convincing them, and then getting the kids to actually experiment and try new ways and curating the learning process in what we are calling a journey landscape, which is really an opportunity to celebrate it. So on a day-to-day basis, throughout public spaces in the school, we would post up drafts and the steps that got along to an end project so that kids can come by and see those things, or inside classrooms. And then we would also have one big or two big museum nights where we'd invite parents, and students would present about their journeys along the way on certain projects, and also probably have a speaker come in to talk about a successful person who's experimented all along the way and can talk about the importance of experimentation as well.
Great.